community is what the Tamalada is all about. Because a community that is built on the foundation of what Father Greg Boyle, you may know him from Homeboy Industries, what Father Greg Boyle calls kinship. Kinship that is built on the belief that the young people in El Monte are worthy of our best effort, because we believe that education has the power to transform their lives. It is what connects us in this community. So tonight, we will continue the tradition of honoring outstanding educators, one from each of our local districts. And tonight we will reaffirm our commitment to building a college readiness culture in El Monte. And tonight we recognize in each other that which may separate us pales in comparison to that which unites us, which is that we believe that our children have the potential to achieve greatness. You know what the Reverend Martin Luther King said about church could very well be said about the Tamalada. And he said, church is not a place you go to. He said, church is a place you come from. And so for us, tamales become the perfect item for community building. Because tamales, as you know, taste so much better when eaten together, when shared together. Tamales, as a recognition of nearly 2 decades of your generosity, not only with your money, but with your presence, which in the end is just as important. And tamales as a metaphor and a symbol for the coming together of a community that believes in the power of its youth and that recognizes that together we can make a difference in the lives of our young people. Thank you for being here tonight. We think that we have a very special program for you. I know you're looking forward to, I know I'm looking forward to the tamales, and those will be coming shortly. But in the meantime, I would like to ask Pastor Charlie Quorum, I'm sorry if I said that wrong, to lead us in an invocation. Thank you for being here tonight.
It's an honor to be here tonight. We're from the New Hope Church, which is right behind this school right here, Almani High School. Painted on our wall is the Almani logo, so we're honored to do that. For many years, partnered with Almani High School as a church. Our pastor is Tim Sanford. I'm the outreach pastor, and then I also pastor another church in South Almani. And we do a lot with the schools. We just fed 270 families, most of them referred from local schools for Thanksgiving. And we're getting ready to do children in both cities that have parents in prison that will be doing gifts. So we work closely with the schools. It's an honor to be here with all of you educators tonight. And I'd just like to ask a blessing on this time together. If you'd like to join me. Heavenly Father, in the name of the Lord Jesus, I come here tonight as a minister of the gospel and the privilege to work with schools in our community. And we thank you, Lord, for this purpose tonight. One is to honor Bobby Saucedo, Lord, a wonderful educator from this community, Lord, and his family here tonight. And we remember him tonight, and we honor others, Lord, like him, that go outstanding in ways to reach students and bless students in their progress in school and just scholarship funds and things that can bless them as they go forward. So thank you, Lord, for the gathering of people here tonight, the food we're going to eat together, the tamales, and we just ask your blessing in the name of Jesus. Amen. God bless you.
Thank you, Pastor Charlie. I do want to mention that before we continue with the program, I would like to acknowledge not only the Almani Promise Foundation, but also all the organizations that partner as part of the foundation. So on behalf of the City of El Monte, the City of South El Monte, the El Monte South El Monte Chamber of Commerce, Rio Hondo College, El Monte City School District, Mountain View School District, El Monte Union High School District, and the El Monte Coalition of Latino Professionals. Please give them a hand for all the support. You know, I would not be standing in front of you tonight were it not for the fact that while I was a student at Roosevelt High School, I had the great fortune of meeting two outstanding teachers. Mr. Howard Shore and Ms. Lorna Auerbach, who really took it upon themselves to encourage me to go to college, and who saw things in myself that I did not see at the time. And so many of us who work in the foundation have very similar stories in that one individual, one adult, usually somebody who was at the school, has made a difference in our life. The problem with that, or the issue with that, is that I was very fortunate to meet these two individuals, but there were a lot of kids that I grew up with that didn't have that opportunity. So they never had the opportunities that I've had in my life because of the encounter with these two amazing teachers. The idea behind the Monte Promise Foundation is to take those chance encounters between teachers and students and institutionalize them. So all children get the same information about getting ready to go to college. So that all students have the same access and the same resources, so they too can have the opportunities that I've had. That is the basic underlying philosophy of the Monte Promise Foundation. And I want to share some information with you because this year, 2022, is the 10th year anniversary of the founding of the Monte Promise Foundation. And you may remember also that 7 years ago, right across the street from here, we brought about 500 first graders. Talk about a scary sight, right? 500 first graders when we launched the Scholar Savings Program. So I want to say that those kids who were in first grade in 2015, they are now ninth graders at the high school district. And so, a systemic change doesn't happen overnight. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of dedication. But we're convinced that this is work that is worth it for us, that is very fulfilling for us. And I do want to share some things about tonight and then about the promise in general. I'm a little bit out of a public speaking shape. That's what happens when you retire. So, the Scholar Saving Programs is the signature program of the Monte Promise Foundation. And so families in El Monte have saved over $450,000 to help their children go to college. And I hear sometimes that parents in El Monte don't care about the education for their children. Nothing could be further from the truth. I worked with parents for 35 years as an educator, and I never once had a parent tell me that they didn't care about the future of their children. We believe in that. But in addition to the Scholar Saving Program, this year, for the first time, every student in the El Monte City School District, in the Mountain View School District, and the El Monte High School District received a document that is called the Roadmap to College. And in it, the document outlines grade level by grade level skills that students need to attain in order to be ready to go to college when they graduate from high school. Dr. Zuniga, the superintendent of the El Monte Union High School District, will tell you that it's much easier to send kids off to college when they come prepared with information by the time they get to the high school. I was a high school teacher for 8 years, and so I can tell you personally that it makes a big, big difference. So about 13,000 students in the 3 districts received that information. We opened our 500th account this year, and like I said before, families have raised more than $450,000 for the children to go to college. We also have 56 students who participated in our college savings account program who are now in college, and 4 out of our first cohorts have already graduated. And like I said, that original group of first graders, they're about to go out to the real world in 4 years. And we are convinced that they will be better prepared to face those challenges because of all the information they have received since they were in first grade. Before we have our educators say a few words, I do want to acknowledge very special individuals and organizations that have donated and contributed to tonight's Tamalada. And this work would not be possible without those generous donations and the support of everyone who is here this evening. I am proud to announce that together we raised this year a record-setting $117,000 for Monte. I would also like to recognize our diamond partners, James Young and John Edwards. They could not be here tonight, but they have donated their table so that some of the Mountain View students could join us. And I believe our students are sitting right over there. So thank you for being here. I'd also like to recognize our platinum partners in Monte High School District, in Monte City School District, Reform Chiropractic, in Wintry Education. If you would please stand so we can recognize you further. I would also like to recognize the board members of the Monte Promise Foundation. I'm going to go ahead and read their names, and if you would stand after I read the names, we would appreciate that. Vice President Dr. Isela Oseguela, Secretary Mr. Jerry Velasco, Treasurer Ms. Norma Garcia, Past President Mr. Jeff Seymour, Margina Berg, Martin Correa, Ana Gutierrez, Susan Wang, Roberto Lopez Mena, Ken Roche, Tracy Morinati, Joseph Wu, Alvi Perez, and the advisory members, Dr. Raymond Andre, Hector Delgado, Dr. Maribel Garcia, Hiba Griffiths, Dr. Maria Morales, and Dr. Edward Zuniga. Would you please stand so you I would also like to acknowledge our elected officials here tonight, and again, I will read the names, and then if I can please ask you to stand after that so you can also be recognized. Our representative from Senator Susan Rubio's office, a representative from Assemblyman District 49, Mr. Mike Fong, County Assessor Jeffrey Penn, from the City of El Monte, Mayor Jessica Ancona, Mayor Pro Tem Alma Puente, Councilmember Martin Herrera, Councilmember Dr. Maria Morales, Councilmember Victoria Martinez Muela, City Clerk Kathy Heredia, City Treasurer Viviana Longoria, and City Manager Alma Martinez. From the City of South El Monte, Mayor Gloria Olmos, Mayor Pro Tem Manuel Acosta, Councilmember Richard Angel, Councilmember Gracie Retamosa, Councilmember Hector Delgado, and City Manager Rene Salas. From the Rio Hondo Community College Board, Board President Vicky Santana, Vice President Crystal Orozco, Clerk Anais Medina Diaz, Board Member Oscar Valladares, Board Member Rosalba Lomelí, and Superintendent Dr. Marilyn Flores. Would you please stand so that you may be recognized? You know, I had the pleasure and the honor of working alongside Bobby Salcedo for 8 years while I was a teacher at South El Monte High School. And the gentleman for whom the Esperanza Bobby Salcedo Award is named. And I also had the great pleasure of saying he was my friend. And as you know, Bobby was taken much too early, but I want to assure you that his spirit lives on, that we feel his presence, especially here tonight, because this was such an important event for him. And in that, along those lines, I would like to recognize the Salcedo family who is here this evening, and they are kind enough to join us, and so I would like to recognize them. So let me tell you who's here. Unfortunately, Mr. Salcedo, Bobby's father, is not able to be here tonight. But we do have his older sister, Griselda. I'm sorry, Griselda. I apologize. Griselda is here. And of course, his brother, Carlos Salcedo, who's also one of our board members and one of our principals. We also have his niece, Maya, his nephew, Joaquin. We also have another nephew, Robert Jefferson, and another one of his nieces, Abigail Jefferson. So welcome, Salcedo family. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing Bobby with us. So let me just embarrass Maya just for a little bit, because I was talking to Carlos. I don't know if you remember this, but when she was just an infant, Bobby was walking at one of the Tamaladas. I don't know if you remember, Bobby was walking around, and he had Maya in his arms. And so to learn that she's a high school senior now, it just kind of shows that time has passed. Did I get it wrong? I am so sorry, she's not a high school senior. She is a college freshman. Thank you, Maya, for making us feel so old. And I want to here to introduce the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award is Mr. Paul Keeler of the Monte Coalition of Latino Professionals. Paul.
Like Oscar, I'm a little out of practice of speaking. Normally I'm in front of junior hires, so please raise your hand if you need to use a restroom. Make sure your phones are ringing, that way I can answer them for you. That's kind of how it works in the classroom. All right, so for the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award. Good evening, guests. As an MCLEP member, it is my privilege to introduce the 2022 Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award. The Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award is given to individuals who embody Bobby Salcedo's passion and commitment to assist students from our community in attaining a higher education. As a teacher, administrator, and community member, he tirelessly went above and beyond to reach people and connect them with the tools and resources needed to obtain a college degree. Bobby believed that education was the great equalizer. Bobby Salcedo was born and raised in our community. He was our friend, mentor, teacher, and a leader. His legacy continues in the lives he touched and the ways he inspired us to live lives of service to this community we all love so well. He is the reason so many of us in this room began our service to children in this community. And look, take a minute, look around. Take a look at what his life began and continues to inspire. His legacy is still changing lives today. Here to represent Bobby's legacy is the Salcedo family, like Oscar already introduced. And again, thank you for allowing us to continue his legacy. The Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award is a distinction that is given to educators because of their commitment to their school, students, and community. Educators who excel in advancing their students towards a bright and promising future. Now, Mr. Marquez will introduce this year's recipients of the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award.
Before I call Oscar Castillo to introduce our first recipient, I would like to also recognize another very essential group of elected officials in our communities, and those are our board members for each of the three districts. So beginning with the Monte Union High School District, I would like to introduce Board President Mr. Carlos Salcedo, Vice President David Diaz, Clerk Estela Torres Sigres, Board Member Ricardo Padilla, Board Member Florencio Briones, and Superintendent Dr. Eri Zuniga. Nope. For the Monte City School District, Board President Julia Ruedas, Vice President Lisette Mendez Garcia, Clerk Beth Rivas, Board Member Jennifer Cobian, Board Member David Sigres, and Superintendent Dr. Maribel Garcia. For the Mountain View School District, Board President Mr. Adam Carranza, Vice President Veronica Cifuentes, Clerk Christian Diaz, Board Member Jackie Saldana, Board Member Cindy Wu, and Superintendent Dr. Raymond Andrew. And now I would like to, my pleasure to introduce one of the best math teachers I have ever been, had the pleasure to be around, Mr. Oscar Castillo. He is now the Director of Student Affairs at South Amani High School, and he will be introducing their nominee for the Bobby Salcedo Award. Oscar?
Good evening, everyone. It is an honor to be here and speak about Ms. Stephanie Paz, the activities office clerk at South Monte High School. Ms. Paz is very passionate about students. Her office is approximately, 8 by 10. And on any given day, you can see 10 to 12 students inside her office. And then outside her office, there will be like another 5 to 10 students just waiting an opportunity to talk to her. She's just very popular with the students. She's always mentoring, helping, and counseling students when they require help. She does this after her contract time. She takes initiative to talk to students about their grades, family issues, and college applications. Many students in her office are there because they feel safe and accepted. Her office has become a safe haven for many athletes, ASB students, and most importantly, the students that are at risk. Ms. Paz has made a connection with students more than many teachers and counselors at our school. Throughout her years at South Monte High School, she has performed her essential duties just like any other activities office clerk in an outstanding manner. In addition, she's working on her bachelor's degree and eventually she wants to become a counselor. If that's not enough, she's also a mom and she's involved in her son's after-school activities, and I'm sure that brings many happy memories to her. However, I noticed that when she helps students, she becomes a different person. She's very passionate, she has a lot of charisma and kindness. I currently work with approximately 120 ASB students, and I don't even know half of the names. There are just too many. But Ms. Paz knows every one of my students and her ID numbers. Whenever I go to their office, I say, Stephanie, I just need help with one of my students. Yeah, who is she? And, yeah, she has like long hair. She's wearing like a red shirt today. Type the ID number. Yeah, what do you need about her? It is amazing, Stephanie. She usually stays after her contract time to assist students in need. Many students feel more comfortable talking to her, even to counselors or teachers. The students think that she's one of the most caring people at our school, and I agree with them. So Ms. Paz, congratulations and happy birthday, because today is your birthday.
Hello everyone, I'm a bit nervous. First off, I want to thank the Monte Promise Foundation for this award and all the work they do to help students in our community. I am extremely honored to be the first classified employee in the Monte Union High School District to receive the Esperanza Award, especially because I know what Bobby meant to our district and community. In thinking of whom I wanted to thank for this award, I found myself reflecting on my own journey in education and in the wavering path that led me to where I stand today. Starting with my education at Arroyo High School. I, like many other educators here, started out wanting to be a teacher. You see, my early desire to be a teacher came not only from my love of learning, but from the amazing role models who shaped my life. My Auntie Patty, formerly known as Miss Philomoa, and Mr. Joe Vu. Funny story is, Mr. Joe Vu, I met him many years prior to him becoming my boss. He was a young, energetic, full of hair teacher. He was always inspiring, and I always inspired to be just like him. Fast forward, I changed my career path. I was working at the longest jailer in the country, which was Longo Toyota. I decided to change career paths and and try to apply for a school. I decided to apply for the Monte High School District. To my surprise, I ended up working at South Monte High School, the school that my Auntie Patty first started, as a Spanish teacher where I ran the hallways, excited to go into Spanish class and see the Lion King. It's very amazing to me to be able to inspire and be a role model for many students, as I was once an alumni, and working with many teachers that once were my teachers and seeing them grow. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. These role models have shown me these role models for my students by believing in them, having them recognize their self-worth, and that they too can succeed. Sorry, I'm a little nervous. I got lost. I want to thank my family, my fiance JJ, my kids, Ezra, Patty, and Jiraiya. Sorry, my son. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. My colleague, Ms. Laurie Briones, Oscar Castillo, Caesar, Mr. Morales, Mr. Legaspi that's also here. Oh, and the first person that hired me, which was Angelica De La Rosa. Once again, I want to thank you for this honor and recognition. Sorry.
I think I gave you whatever I had, that's why you got lost. So really, it's not your fault. I would also, at this time, I would like to welcome Mr. Carlos Salcedo, the principal from Clemenson School, from the Monte City School District, to introduce his honoree, or their honoree, Priscilla Stratus. Mr. Salcedo.
Good evening, everybody. Just on a personal note, it does kind of blow my mind. I still remember the very first Tamalada that we had, and the opportunity, the privilege that we had to, at that time, honor our parents was something that I will cherish forever. It's just always important to recognize. I think I said this yesterday at the ribbon cutting ceremony for Ledesma, to honor those that had laid the path before us, who had laid the foundation, and to honor those, and being able to do that was very special. But to stand here before all of you and to see all the familiar faces and the new faces, thank you so much. It means so much to our community. So, Mrs. Stratus, every year we're asked to submit names for consideration for the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award. And every year, I think hard about what teacher from my school or somebody from the district that would be worthy of this honor. This year, we chose, I submitted Mrs. Stratus's name, because when I think about who I want to submit, I think about who I would want to teach my children, right? And who I would want my children to spend most of the day with. Because let's be honest, from 8 to 2:30, they're at school, they're with their teacher, right? By the time I get home from work and homework happens, and and so with that in mind, I thought about Ms. Stratus this year. So Mrs. Stratus has a very calm demeanor about her. She's very humble, and she works in a very collaborative fashion. Many times she'll come to me even when something's bugging her, and she'll just be like, "Can we speak for a little bit?" Right? And she'll kind of squint like this, and I'm like, "All right," but never is there a problem too big. She has so much patience, it really is unmatched. She has the ability, when discussing particular students, to always talk about their strengths, and even though it's been a challenging day, to speak about them positively. So, and I'm looking down here because I'm hoping that when she goes home, that's what she's doing, right? Okay. But always with coming up with ideas and solutions about how to help them in the classroom. But she's always keenly aware of the challenges that the students have at home. She takes time to understand a student's situation and empowers them to persevere despite challenges they may be facing on a daily basis. She teaches with empathy and with love. And always, 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 when she's talking about the students, is with that in mind. And when she teaches, it comes through. Today, it's been a busy week. And last week I had told Priscilla, I was like, hey, I gotta sit down and talk to you because I want some details, like how many years you've taught and blah, blah, blah. Because even though I've been there about 9 years, like, I don't ask those questions. I learned a long time ago, you know, to not ask, how many years have you been teaching? I learned real fast. And so we did today. And, you know, she's been with the district for 32 years, 10 years as an ISS, and 22 as a teacher. That's experience. I'm not going to say anything else than that. But besides volunteering for PTA events and being Golden Apple Award winner and staying after school and helping with the fall carnivals and helping wherever she can, after we had that conversation today, I'm walking to a classroom and I look over and I see Priscilla sitting on the curb by the boys' restroom. Okay, all the way down to the students' level. There was another boy, there was a little boy there, and I didn't ask her if it was her student yet. And she had her hand on his shoulder, and what looked like she was helping him with a writing assignment. And I thought, in that split second, we chose the right teacher to award the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award. And I share that story, Priscilla, because I wanted to let you know I saw that. But really, to tell you in front of everybody, thank you for being that teacher. And just another, you know, example of her humbleness. I think it was Roz Keeler, or it could have been Joe Vu, called me and told me, hey, will you let the teacher know that she's receiving the nomination? And I'm like, oh, cool, yeah, I'll do it today. So you remember that day? Yeah, okay. And so I went into her classroom and I figured, she'll be okay, you know. So I'm telling her, and I usually start with a story. And I go, hey, Priscilla, you know the Tamalada is coming up, right? And every year we honor a teacher or an educator from every school district. And, you know, the Bobby Salcedo, and I explained the whole story to her, right? And I said, wow, you're the nominee for the Almani City School District. Oh, yeah? Oh, cool. You know, she's just, and I was like, and I think you said something like, oh, well, when are they voting, or something like that, like, you know what? And I was, you know, it kind of clicked that, okay, maybe she doesn't understand. Maybe, did I say it wrong? And so I repeated it again. And she's like, wait, you mean it to me? I go, yes. I go, you are gonna be receiving the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award for the Almani City School District. And that's when it finally clicked. And she was so humble and accepting the nomination. It was perfect. It was typical Priscilla Stratus. So anyway, without further ado, Priscilla Stratus.
There are times when I'm just a little bit awkward. I'm an educator. I'm used to spending my day with kids. So it took me a minute to realize that I'd actually won, and I thought, I was so excited just to be nominated. It felt like the pressure had been, you know, relieved. And then when he said that I won, I was very, very, very humbled and just amazed at being here with the group of educators that I know over the years have contributed so much to this community. And the people that brought me here to this, you know, podium right now are the people sitting at this table right here that really inspired me my whole young life when I first started out. So when I listened about, you know, this young woman, she's juggling so much to do things for other people and do things for her family, and then also acquiring all the energy you need to continue to go to college. It makes it a huge difference to me because I know that struggle. You know, I married young, and that man sitting right there, Mark, he's the one that said, "You're going to college." you're going to college, and without a man by your side that says to you, you can do this, go, we will make this work. And I worked for 10 years as an instructional assistant. I worked 2.5 days a week, and that is such a gift. That is such a gift from my husband to me, to our family, to make that happen. And I went to school and I juggled everything that you do when you're a mom of, raising 3 kids, and it gives me great pride to see our little family have, to have grown. And then when I go into the classroom, that started so long ago as a young person myself, that at my elementary school we had a class where you could make Braille books, and they would bring students to learn there because they had to come, and there maybe 5 or 6 students would come to our school. And I don't know if it was good or bad or why. I was allowed to go into that classroom and help students read Braille. And so my love for teaching and helping started at a very young age, in the 5th grade. And it continued throughout that time because the teacher said, you need to go and be there. You need to go and help these students. And to see students who for me, had no knowledge of what I looked like or what anything looked like, to help them read using Braille, and I would make the pages with the old machines. It was really a great experience, and that came from a teacher. And so these kinds of experiences over my life have kept me in the classroom, and there's a couple, events that happen over time when you're working with kids, and, there was one moment that stands out to me especially is when students get sent to the office, and then they have to sometimes get sent home regularly for whatever needs to be handled with their hair and things like that. And so one year, I had the students come back, and the parents had just shaved her head. And so at that moment, I was just crushed. I was crushed, and I looked over, and I just, not too much attention to it, just gave her a hug. But it reminded me of how important other things are sometimes, about the people that we are in our classrooms with, that they go home, they have struggles, they don't always have the solutions. So this foundation providing so much information to parents really gives them hope. And one of the conversations that we had today was from a story that we're reading called The Miraculous Journey of Every Tulane. And in the story, the character has to try to learn to understand what love is. And it's kind of a self, conflict within the character, and we talked a lot about what that looks like. And one of the sentences we read today was about having this hopelessness, this moment in your life where you lose all hope, and how the character has to express that. The character, which is a rabbit, by the way, a porcelain china rabbit, which the students really can relate to. And when Carlos saw me today, I was sitting with that student, because during class, we were talking about what that means, like, how about we ever felt that way? And so students were raising their hands, but this particular little boy said to me, I feel like that every day. I feel like that every day. And I thought to myself, every day, that's a lot. That's a lot. So we talked after school, but in the classroom, I talked about how sometimes this hopelessness feeling is temporary. It's something that, can be worked through, and of course we have moments like that in our life. And reading these stories and spending time with children and watching them struggle with, everything that we've had in the last 3 years has certainly made us, and myself and my family, understand how important being together is. And even though we have fears about being together, and we do lose hope sometimes, that we know that we can regain that hope. And every day I go into that classroom, and my husband tells me, you go and work with kids, and you come home and you're happier for it, because they're not adults in so many ways, right? And I have a lot of hope for them, and I see them struggle and overcome so many little things. There's just so many celebrations every day, I can never remember them all. But in closing, I really need to say that it's such a coincidence to me that I have a cousin who actually had a class with Bobby Salcedo, and she had said to me, just in passing, when I first started working with Carlos when he came to our school, wow, I had a class with him, and he was a really good guy. And then here I am receiving an award in honor of him and all the work that he did in our community. So I really, really do appreciate it. And once again, I have to thank my husband for all and everything we've been through over the 36 6, 7 years that we've been together, and my family and my kids, because that's why I'm here. And you need to know that that little girl right there, she used to spend a lot of time waiting in the office because I was still at school getting things up, and I'd have to call, can you let her wait in the office? But they're all 3 very much loved and accomplished, and our little grandson right there, Aiden, who came tonight, and I really appreciate that, Aiden. I know it's a long night for you. Thank you, everyone. I will feel honored forever. My name's in a permanent place in the city, and I do appreciate the award. It means so much to me.
Thank you, Priscilla. I would now like to introduce Olga Gallegos. She is a teacher at Parkview Middle School in the Mountain View School District, and she will be introducing their honoree, Arlene Legaspi.
Good evening. Today we are here to honor Arlene Legaspi for her efforts to change students' lives. And who does not know Arlene Legaspi in our school? Let me just tell you that Arlene has roots in the community service here in El Monte. And prior to becoming a teacher, she served as a coach in the City of El Monte Parks and Recreation Department, coaching, mentoring, and inspiring groups throughout El Monte. Arlene Legaspi has been a dedicated teacher in the Mountain View School District for 29 years. She's taught 7th and 8th grade at Krantz Intermediate for 27, and is currently teaching 8th grade at Parkview School. Her passion for serving the students and families of the Mountain View School District in El Monte and South El Monte communities is unsurpassed. She is a passionate, inspirational, and a supportive teacher and an ideal recipient for the Bobby Salcido Esperanza Award. Arlene's heart for students is evident in everything she does. She is an exemplary teacher who cares deeply about the welfare and the success of the students entrusted to her as she thrives to provide an instructional environment where they can excel academically, socially, and emotionally. Throughout her 29 years in education, she has demonstrated a commitment to providing equally instruction which promotes academic excellence for all students while meeting their unique needs. In addition to her excellence work in the classroom, Arlene is the advisor for the after-school Sea Perch program, an innovative underwater robotics program that provides students the opportunity to learn about robotics, engineering, science, and mathematics, STEM, while building an underwater remotely operated vehicle. Under her leadership, the Krantz and Parkview Sea Perch teams have had great success at competitions throughout LA County. She has been involved with the Partnership Scholars Program, PSP, for over 20 years. Serving as a PSP coordinator and as a PSP board member, PSP is dedicated to expanding college and career opportunities for highly motivated students in underserved communities. Thanks to her dedication and hard work, over 217 former students have experienced life-changing opportunities throughout PSP, and approximately 90% are in a 4-year college or have graduated from college with scholarship status. Just like Bobby Salcido, throughout this endeavor, Arlene has been instrumental in the advancement of our schools, students, and community. Her passion for teaching goes beyond her call of duty. She goes above and beyond for her students and staff members. There is nothing, and I mean literally, there is nothing that she can't do from the beginning of the school year to the end. And that is why she's very well loved and respected among our middle school students and staff member. And she is very deserving of this award. Congratulations, Arlene, for your service, commitment to the students, and the children in our community.
Good evening. I come before you humbled and honored for representing the Mountain View School District and receiving the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award. Achieving such recognition is not accomplished alone. I have been fortunate to work with many supportive teams throughout my years working in the city of El Monte and the Mountain View School District. With all this support, I have been able to give my very best. I had the privilege of meeting Bobby when he was a young teacher at South El Monte High School. Throughout his career, I could see that he was an inspiration to the students and a great role model for the community. So to receive the Bobby Salcedo Esperanza Award means so much to me because of the everlasting impact that Bobby had and continues to have in the El Monte community. I was raised in El Monte since I was 4 years old. Over the many years of working and volunteering in the community, I found that El Monte is a very family-oriented community. Coaching for Parks and Recreation, volunteering as a catechist teacher at Nativity Church, teaching in Crans Intermediate and Parkview, I have met phenomenal individuals who strive to help our children. To be a teacher is to be one who hopes and believes in the power of a dream. Inspiring our young individuals to pursue their dreams and to do well in life continue to be my passion. Our rewards are not financial, but are so much greater. To see a student completing a task or accomplishing something challenging, to see the light bulbs pop up when they understand something new, to see them grow up and accomplish things that they thought they might have never thought of being possible. These are the rewards that I feel make our job so special. I have been blessed with many opportunities that have granted me access to help enrich the lives of our students. The biggest opportunity has been the Partnership Scholars Program. This program started in 1996 after Dr. Glenn Langer, who was the head of cardiology at the UCLA Medical School, started volunteering at Lenox School District. He was astonished to find that a number of the students in Lenox had not been out of that 1.3 square mile school district. They hadn't even gone to the beach. Approaching retirement, he and his wife decided to start a mentoring program for 7 students at Lenox Middle School. The word got out and the program expanded. Thanks to Sal Gamina, a former Crans principal, who was now the principal at Lenox, I was approached by Gamina and Dr. Langer to expand the program at Crans. I couldn't say no. I was always looking for something to get more kids involved, and this was one program that I felt we needed. In 1999, we inducted our first group of scholars. Thanks to many generous donors, and especially the Salcedo family, we have been able to expand college, career, and life-changing opportunities to over 217 students in the Mountain View School District. Without the help of my colleagues, especially my colleagues who became mentors when I asked them, they are dedicated for 6 years of their time to our scholars, and this program would have been successful, is the way it is. I really thank my colleagues because they came through when I asked them. I want to express my deep and sincere gratitude to Olga and to Raymond for nominating me, and to the Latino Coalition of Professionals, the El Monte Promise Foundation, and the Salcedo family for selecting me as a recipient of this award. I want to thank my parents, Henry and Minerva Maliglick, for moving our family to El Monte and instilling in me many important values of how one should conduct themselves and to have a positive impact on society. I want to thank all my extended family, the students and colleagues who have played a part in my success, because without them, I wouldn't be who I am. I especially want to thank my wonderful family. I have been blessed with unconditional love and support from my 2 daughters, Alyssa and Sarah, who everybody knows, they grew up on my school site and at church. They've been always by my side. And lastly, I could not be here without the support and encouragement from my loving husband, Michael, who in my opinion is my rock and keeps me grounded. I am truly blessed. Thank you.
Can you please join me in a round of applause for our 3 outstanding educators? Before we take a few pictures, I would like to direct your attention to the artwork that each of our recipients are receiving. If you have joined us for previous Tamaladas and you have seen the Esperanza Award, They look a little different this year. So we commissioned our artist, Dolores Harrell, to create new work in honor of the El Monte Promise Foundation 10th anniversary. So what you see is the heart represents love, gratitude, and hope, the core foundation for a strong community and an outstanding educator. And at this point, I would like to ask elected officials and their representatives if they would like to join us on the stage for a photo opportunities with our recipients. And so I believe we have a representative from Senator Susan Rubio's office. Can I please ask you to come up to the stage? We have a representative from Assembly Member Mike Fong's office, a representative from County Assessor Jeffrey Prang's office, a representative or representatives from the City of El Monte, and any other elected official who would like to present to our honorees. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me here today. On behalf of Assemblymember Mike Fong, it is a distinct pleasure to celebrate these three wonderful educators and truly all the educators in the room. Thank you for being a teacher, and not only that, thank you for being a teacher in El Monte. You make this community better, and thank you for raising the kids as well. It takes a real community. Thank you so much. And on behalf of California Assembly, I have some recognition for everything you're doing. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Laura, and I'm here on behalf of Senator Susan Rubio. As a teacher for 17 years, Senator Rubio prizes education above all else. Thank you so much for all the work you do for our community. It truly means so much that leadership starts with our young students and therefore starts with you. We also have certificates for the three of you. Congratulations.
Good evening, everyone, and it is truly an honor to be here. In some way, shape, or form, I've been impacted by all three of the school districts here tonight. Having been a student myself here in the Monte City School District and a graduate of the Monte Union High School District, Sherpster, Gidley, and Rosemead. And then having started my career in education at Rosemead High School. I was a teacher for 10 years, then went into administration. My children are also a product of Frank Wright and Arroyo High School. And having had the opportunity to also serve as a board member for our Monte City School District for 5 years. And then also just partnerships when I was in administration with the Mountain View School District as well. The work that our educators do here in our community is priceless. They impact our children, they motivate them, they teach them to dream big and reach for their goals. I mean, look at me, having started my family arriving here in El Monte from Yucatan, Mexico, and never having left, and who would have thought? Over 45 years later, I become the mayor of this wonderful city. We have a beautiful family here within the El Monte community, whether you live here, whether your children have gone to school here, whether you work here. We're a beautiful family, we support one another, and thank you all and these amazing educators for their devotion to our children. So on behalf of the City of El Monte, I want to say thank you and congratulations.
So at this time, if anyone would like to take photos, you can come up and do that. I know everyone has family and friends and some of our representatives here.
Okay, thank you everyone. We're almost at the conclusion of the program. I promised that we will be heading out in just a couple of minutes. I do want to acknowledge a very special individual who is joining us tonight, and I don't need to mention that this has been a very, very challenging year for the El Monte Police Department and for the community. And so we stand togetherness with that department. But we are very lucky to be joined by the new Chief of Police for the City of El Monte, Mr. Jake Fisher. Chief, thank you for being here tonight. I would also like to acknowledge, the planning of an event like the Tamalada is a huge endeavor, and it takes a lot of energy, a lot of hours, and a lot of dedication to make this event possible. And they're so good at it that the place looks fantastic. Do you not agree? And but I know how much work that they have put in, and I would like to recognize some very special individuals who have worked very hard to make this evening possible. Beginning with the staff of the Monte Promise Foundation. First and foremost, our Executive Director, Mrs. Jennifer Cobian. But also Francisco, Alejandro, and Shreya, and I have seen that they haven't stopped working all evening. So wherever you are, I know you're here, and I want to thank you for all the work, not just for the Tamalada, but all the work you do on a regular basis. We also would like to thank the members of our Parent Advisory Committee and the members of the Asian Pacific Islander Parent Advisory Committee as well. And I think that one of the things you'll notice is that this is really a community-wide effort. So along those lines, I would like to acknowledge the City of El Monte for allowing us to use this beautiful space and for making sure that it looks as fantastic as it does tonight. Doctors Sid and Teresa Pinedo for their donation of our VIP tequila tasting tonight. Mr. John Mann and our Mountain View High School students who will be our videographers and operating our photo booth tonight. Make sure you take a picture when you are outside. Preferably as you're biting into a tamal. I would also like to thank Maria Morgan and the El Monte City School District Community Liaisons for their help with their pre-event assembly. I'd also like to recognize the Upper San Gabriel Valley Water District for their water donation tonight. And last but certainly not least, our friends at Starbucks for their coffee donation. That's why it tastes so good. So before we close, I'd like to just share some directions with you. So we're doing tamales in buffet style like we did last year. So tamale meals are available outside the patio here. When you present your ticket, you will receive your meal. And so feel free at that point to either return to the auditorium, spend time outside, or if you must leave, feel free to take that with you. Water and coffee are available. Beer, wine, and soda are available for purchase at the bar in the back, and that's where Mr. Joe Vu is holding court. So don't miss out on having a conversation with him. For those of you who have VIP bracelets, the tequila tasting room is available in the room just outside to the right. So I want to take this very last opportunity to thank you for your patience, for hearing me out, and for more than anything for being here tonight. If this is your first Tamalada, I hope you're back. Sincerely hope you're back. If this is more than your first Tamalada, if it's not the first Tamalada, we're so happy to see you here. It is by far the best part of the Tamaladas that we get the opportunity to see good friends. And before we go, and I want to make sure that you have a great holiday season, that you have a safe holiday season, and joyful and full of peace with the people that you love. But I want to say, just in parting to you, when I was at South Amani High School, I had a counselor who told me in public that, you know, Mr. Marquez, not every one of our students is going to go to college. And I don't think she meant it in a negative way. I think she was a realist. I was young and idealistic at the time. Now I'm only idealistic. And I said, you know, you're absolutely, that's probably true. That's probably true that not all students are going to go to college. But here's the thing. We don't get to decide who we prepare. We prepare all of them, every single one of them. If for whatever reason they don't get to go to college, that's beyond our control. But in the meantime, we will work very hard to ensure that every student that comes in through our gates has the best possible preparation, so when they're ready to apply for college, they have a better chance of being accepted, they have a better chance of enrolling, and they have a better chance, ultimately, of completing their degree. We said at the beginning that systemic change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, and it takes a lot of effort. And so classroom teachers will tell you, and we heard from Priscilla specifically about the challenges that some of the students in our community face. And they're daunting. The odds are stacked very much against them. But it is not an impossible task. There are many of us here who face similar odds and similar barriers. And here we are for the power of individuals who encouraged us, who supported us, who guided us. That's the job of the Monte Promise Foundation. If you do nothing else but contribute in the way that you have contributed tonight, that is plenty. We're grateful for the contribution. But if you have a little bit of extra time, and you want to be part of it, and you want to engage, there are many ways that you can do it. But perhaps the most powerful way of engaging with the youth, with the young people in our community, is to simply share your story. Let them know that you were not born driving a nice car, that you were not born owning a nice home, that you were not born wearing a tie. Tell your story. Because sometimes for them, it's impossible for them to visualize how they will get from the place where they are now to where they want to be. But if they listen to someone who's done it before, the job becomes a lot easier. Is this an easy job? No, it's not easy. If it were easy, then everybody would go to college. It's not easy at all. But it's not impossible, and we have the energy. We will do it. We will keep working. Because this is the vision that we have created for this community, that we will create a college readiness culture so all the students who attend our schools have the same opportunities that we have had. So I will leave you with these words that have guided me in some difficult times. And these are the words of Robert Kennedy, the great late senator from Massachusetts. And he said, "Some people look at the way things are and ask why. I look at the things the way they could be and ask why not." Okay? Thank you very much for being here tonight. Have a wonderful time. And please do a lot of tamales. Okay, Pastor DJ Eric, you are on, young man.